Part 18. After the divorce, the ex-wife became a creditor. Author, Ahuan. Chapter 172. Now Qianling is becoming more and more casual with Han Qian, and she is not ambiguous about her actions at all. She really does not treat Han Qian as an outsider. Han Qian, whose ears were pulled, pouted at Lu Chang. "Brother Chang, if I were you, I would only do what my aunt told me, instead of visiting me and interrogating me like a thief. My uncle left early. This doesn't mean that you, a student, can be with my aunt. It is not what a junior should do to dictate things in front of others and take charge of things." Han Qian. Qianling burst out with an angry shout. Han Qian immediately shrank his neck and leaned on the sofa without speaking. Lu Chang, who was sitting opposite, looked at Han Qian in a daze. Thinking of what he had done since he walked in the door, Lu Chang suddenly feeling very ashamed, he stood up and bowed to Qianling, saying sincerely, "Master's wife, what I taught you is right. You are a businessman who has been in business for many years, and I am just a child who has just stepped out of school for a few years. I am too self-righteous. Please forgive me, master's wife. I know what to do about this matter." "How to do it?" "Master, you can find some game companies to cooperate with, preferably foreign companies. The teacher said that you also have some business abroad. Foreigners are very repulsive to us Chinese, and very, etc. After you get the right to use the model, I will contact some programmers to make the foreskin shell game, and then contact studios across the country." Qianling was a little embarrassed by Lu Chang's words and said softly, "Xiao Chang, don't listen to this evildoer's nonsense. If I didn't believe you, I wouldn't tell you this." After the words fell, Han Qian continued, "No. It's not nonsense. Some rules can be dispensed with, and some rules should be engraved in one's bones." Han Qian. Come on, come on, come on. If you have nothing to do, go clean up the house and wash the car downstairs. You know the rules. You know the rules." When Han Qian stood up, Qianling grabbed Han Qian and slapped Han Qian on the shoulder, not too hard. Then Han Qian went to clean the room. At this moment, Lu Chang had no temper at all after being taught a lesson by Han Qian. He sat on the sofa with his eyes closed and sighed softly. "Master wife, I was sizing up Han Qian when I first started. From making tea to being scolded by you, I thought he was just a little clever. My face made a crackling sound from being slapped." Qianling was still a little angry and said irritably, "Don't pay attention to him. He has no rules. Qianwan admires him so much. Only an unruly kid like Qianwan can think that Han Qian is a good thing. I'm so angry." When Qianwan was mentioned, Lu Chang looked a little embarrassed. There was no reason why Qianwan loved to play games. He was brought up by Lu Chang. Lu Chang scratched his head and whispered, "Master's wife, Han Qian is not a person without rules. He is very smart and knows which rules he should abide by and which ones he can ignore without any consequences. Looking at 24 or 5 years old, this city, I am ashamed of myself at the age of 30, but as for Wan Wan, she still loves to play. Okay, stop boasting. I would have forgotten if you didn't tell me. Wan Wan and you grew up together. I have followed you and watched you play games since we were young. Go. You and Han Qian will go to the car wash together later. You peers have something to say, by the way. Don't provoke him. Han Qian has a bad temper and likes to get physical. In addition, Han Qian has some relatives who work at the Yamen gate. This is what I, as a master's wife, have paved for you. The last road." Lu Chang stood up and bowed with great respect. "Thank you, master." Under the scorching sun in autumn, two young men in suits were washing a Mercedes-Benz S600 in a parking space of the community. Qianling was really willing to let these two guys ruin such a mobile money bank. The most important thing was that this thing was no longer for sale. Han Qian was absent-mindedly wiping the car with a piece of deer skin, while Lu Chang washed the car seriously and meticulously. The two have completely different personalities. Feeling a little tired from wiping, Han Qian took out 2 bottles of water from the car, threw one to Lu Chang, and said softly, "Is Brother Chang married?" Lu Chang, who took the water, was sweating and said with a smile, "The children will all run away. We fell in love in high school and got married right after college." 5 years? Han Qian asked doubtfully. Lu Chang smiled happily when he mentioned marriage, his eyes were full of happiness, and he smiled. 7 years ago, I fell in love in the first year of high school. It was my first love. Therefore, I was taught a hard lesson by the teacher. He told me that we should either keep talking or not talk at all. I chose the former. What about you? When marriage was mentioned, Han Qian scratched his head in embarrassment. We are divorced. We are complete opposites. We got married the first day we met. One has been in love for 7 years, and the other got married one day after they met. One child will run away, one will get divorced. Not only are their personalities completely opposite, but their lives are at 2 extremes. Then the 2 guys fell silent. Let's talk about love. Han Qian never did. Let's talk about life after divorce. Lu Chang never divorced. What to do? Wash the car. After washing, Han Qian suddenly spoke. Brother Chang, do you know about the Mid-Autumn Festival dinner jointly held by the yeomanmen and the merchants? What is this for? Lu Chang stopped what he was doing and wondered. Brother Qian also received the invitation. Let's keep talking. Don't stop your hands. I'll be scolded again when I see the 2 of us being lazy. Oh. Okay, this Mid-Autumn Festival party is a party for mutual help between the yeomanmen and businessmen. Urban development cannot be separated from businessmen, and businessmen's profits cannot be separated from the yeomanmen. Let's find and solve problems together. Oh, is this a good opportunity to give money? If you don't want to tell the truth, Brother Qian, will you come with me? I just went there as a formality. As a person from the yeomanmen, compared to a businessman. Is it more convenient? Very convenient. Now Han Qian is becoming more and more interested in this Mid-Autumn Festival party, but he refused. Forget it, a nobody like me goes in and doesn't even know where to eat. Brother Qian, it's a buffet. Han Qian raised his head and looked at Lu Chang with a frown. Is this guy a student of Qian Ling's husband? The uncle's character should be similar to his, right? After all, what kind of student makes what kind of master? Halfway through the car ride, Han Qian made an excuse to go find the toilet. As a result, Lu Chang waited downstairs for 2 hours without seeing Han Qian turn around. He called his wife in confusion, and she gritted her teeth and said, "This evil obstacle must have escaped, Lu Chang. Be smarter when you come into contact with Han Qian in the future." At this moment, Han Qian's situation was not good. It was an accident. While driving, I was in a daze thinking about the dinner. At a red light, I accidentally hit a student crossing the road with 1 step. The student was wearing a skirt and holding his head and crying. Han Qian kept asking about the injury. Is this little girl confused? Answer, just cry. Wow. After the divorce, the ex-wife became a creditor. Author, Ahuan. Chapter 173. The traffic police are here. Han Qian is not the car owner. The owner went to Sanya. After understanding the situation, the traffic police knew that Han Qian was driving his elder's car and got in touch with Li Jinhe. Li Jinhe seemed to be busy, so he just asked Li Jinhe to come and deal with it and hung up the phone. Then Li Jinhe called Han Qian and asked him to deal with Li Jinhe. The mother-in-law thought the matter was serious and did not give Han Qian a chance to explain. When Han Qian was wondering whether to call, his second uncle called. Take your child to the hospital for a checkup. You don't have to worry about other things. Go to the traffic police team tomorrow to pay the fine and points. Keep your eyes open when you drive next time. Oh. I may go to the Mid-Autumn Festival party, and you can drive for me then. Oh. Li Jinhai hung up the phone. At this moment, the traffic police seemed to have received a call and told Han Qian to take the injured to the hospital. The injured's teacher was on the way. The ambulance came, and Han Qian also got in the ambulance. The car was driven by a traffic policeman and followed behind. The little girl was lying in the ambulance crying. Han Qian looked at the little girl's legs. The skin was broken. Could it be that the bones were injured? In the corridor of the hospital, Han Qian paced around anxiously, waiting for the doctor to come out and tell him the results. At this time, there was a rapid sound of high heels from the other end of the corridor. Han Qian knew that trouble was coming, and the child's parents were coming. When he saw the figure running over, Han Qian really wanted to run into the hospital and die. Why is this a monster? Who got 1,000 cuts and hit my student? He just dug out his eyes while driving. How about my student? Han. What are you doing here? Don't say you were hit by my student. It's over. This monster is so anxious that he doesn't even want to call him by his name. Han Qian nodded bravely. I accidentally made it happen. Actually, it's not all my fault. My perspective was blind, and she suddenly ran away. Damn it, nursery rhyme, you were kicking me, and I fought back. Bump. Han Qian felt as if his face had been hit by a car. His brain was dizzy and he lay on the ground. Blood was left in his nostrils. The traffic policeman beside him was stunned for an instant. When he looked at the thin and frail beautiful teacher again, his eyes were full of fear. It turned out that I was still thinking about a marriage. Doctor, doctor. Someone has fainted. Nursery rhyme then remembered that inside the bag were the lesson plans prepared for today, but they were 5 thick books. Han Qian was hospitalized gloriously. To be precise, I just lay on the bed for a while. The doctor checked the size of the bridge of the nose and told Tanjeo that the injuries to the little girls were not serious. It was probably because the car did not hit them and they cut their legs when they fell in fright. I was a little frightened. Han Qian, who was lying on the bed, was relieved when he heard the doctor's words and sat up quickly. He didn't faint, he just didn't want to be caught by the monster of nursery rhyme. She got out of bed to see the injured girl. After seeing that Han Qian was fine, Tanjeo wanted to catch Han Qian to settle the score. As soon as she opened her mouth, Han Qian covered his head and went back to the bed to lie down. Tanjeo gritted his teeth and stared as he lay on the bed. Damn it, Han Qian wanted to give this guy a bag. The two of them were in a stalemate in the ward for 20 minutes. Tong Yao put his hand into the quilt and gritted his teeth. If you become a eunuch, why don't you get up now and go over to apologize? Han Qian was frightened. He stood up and covered himself with the quilt and said angrily. You are a teacher, not a gangster. If you have the energy to quarrel with me, go over and apologize now. Han Qian, get out of bed. Solve the matter early. The child's family background is similar to that of Tukan, and he is also an eldest lady. Get up. Did this car crash knock out another father? Han Qian got up and ran out the door. Now Han Qian's head hurts when he hears the word eldest lady. It may be because of the nursery rhyme. When he went out, Han Qian turned his head and looked at the bag in nursery rhyme's hand and frowned. You take a brick with you when you go out? No wonder you can't get married. I'll change it to bricks next time, so hurry up and leave. Tong Yao pushed Han Qian's back with both hands. The little girl lives in an independent ward and is watching TV and eating fruit. When she sees Han Qian walking in the door, she is slightly startled and wonders who she is looking for. When she sees the recent substitute teacher appear behind this person, the girl immediately cried. Wow, Teacher Tong, I was hit by a car. Wow, Teacher Tong, your boyfriend is so handsome. The first one was crying, the second one was exclaiming. Now Tong Yao was standing behind Han Qian, with his hands on Han Qian's shoulders and half of his body exposed. He looked really intimate, but when these words fell into Tong Yao's ears, it was very uncomfortable, like an electric shock. He quickly distanced himself from Han Qian and curled his lips. Who is blind enough to see this guy? He is the perpetrator, and we happen to know each other. Oh. 1 to 3 times, the little girl looked Han Qian up and down. Han Qian was looking at this little girl. She has a round face, round glasses, and a round mouth. The whole face is very round. Such facial features appear on the same face. It may not look good, but it looks perfect on this little girl's face, giving her a very cute and quirky look. Just as Han Qian was about to step forward, Tong Yao spoke quickly. Stop. Han Qian, stay away from my student. Apologize over there, and negotiate compensation over there. Wei Yi, don't be polite to him. This guy is very rich. Did I throw your child into a well in my last life? You're talking about me like that? I'm a bastard. Yi, right? I'm so sorry for hurting you. Just say it and I'll just compensate you. Han Qian stared at Tan Jiao, and Tan Jiao protected Wei Yi like a chicken. But the little girl looked at Han Qian curiously and whispered. My dad is Wei Tiancheng, so I'm not short of money, Han Qian, right? How old are you? You're 25 years old. If you don't lack money, what compensation do you need? 25, are you married? He's divorced. Yi, what kind of questions are you asking? Teacher Tong, please stop talking. We're divorced. That's fine. You can take me to and from school until I can walk. Wei Yi had a wicked smile on her face. When Han Qian looked at Wei Yi, he stuck out his tongue and licked the corner of his mouth. Take you to and from school. This expression not only did not scare Wei Yi away, but made her even more excited. She nodded vigorously and said seriously. I'm 19, it's okay. As soon as these words came out, Han Qian turned around and wanted to run away. Tan Jiao also felt that something was wrong, and his eyes kept wandering around Han Qian and Wei Yi. In the end, Han Qian compromised. If he didn't compromise, Wei Yi would not be discharged from the hospital. She shouted that her head hurt and her butt hurt, and she asked Han Qian to come over and stay with him in bed. It was considered a nursery rhyme to agree on Han Qian's behalf. When the two of them walked out of the ward, Tong Yao punched Han Qian in the stomach and said angrily. Take me with you when you pick up Wei Yi. I want to protect the safety of my students. Nursery rhyme returned to the ward. Han Qian held his stomach and did not think about picking up Wei Yi. Instead, he wondered whether Wei Yi was among the mother and daughter invited by Tu Xiao not long ago. Wei Tianquan's girl. Tisk tisk tisk, it's another black boss's rich daughter. I'm going to correct typos tonight, and then, please vote for recommendations. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After the divorce, the ex-wife became a creditor. Author, Ahuan. Chapter 174. When I went to pay the fine, there were 2 more burdens on the car, 1 to be precise. Wei Yi was touched by Han Qian. He had the responsibility to send her to school or home. As for sitting in the back seat and constantly brainwashing Wei Yi with nursery rhymes that Han Qian was a broom star, it was really a burden. Han Qian thought he was not afraid. Which woman? Most of them are respectful and humble, but he is really afraid of nursery rhymes. There's definitely something wrong with this woman's head. And the problem is not small. 6 points deducted and a fine of 200. It seems that Lee Jin-hai has said hello, otherwise it will never end so easily. On August 15th, I really have to be a driver for this black-faced Mr. Bao. If it is just about driving, Han Chien is a little bit more, there will be no resistance. The most unbearable thing is going out with elders and being dragged to know this and that. After leaving the traffic police team, the people in the traffic police team began to gossip about who this guy was. The car with license plate number 1234 was the car of Honor's sensible Wenshu's wife. Who was this young man? It even alerted Director Lee to call him specifically. Naturally, Han Chien didn't know what the people behind him were talking about, so he asked Wei Yi softly whether he was going home or going back to school. When Han Chien turned his head to look at the little girl blushed instantly. She didn't know why she was embarrassed, so she whispered, "First send teacher Tong back to school, she is going home." As soon as she finished speaking, nursery rhyme let out a scream. No. Absolutely not. Han Chien, take Yi home first, and then take me back to school. It's too dangerous for her to be alone with you. You are an animal that doesn't care about food. Tanjeo, please speak up. What do you mean I don't have taboos? I wouldn't attack a little girl who is a senior in high school even if I'm not a thing, right? Bah. Your ex-wife lives in your house, the big lady is flirting with you, and that Yan Hu, are you still clean around you? Didn't I do anything to you if I wasn't clean? You still want to attack me? Han Chien parked the car on the side of the road, opened the door and got out of the car to smoke. Tong Yao also opened the door and got out of the car and chased Han Chien to argue. Han Chien was too lazy to pay attention to her and squatted on the side of the road smoking. At this time, Wei Yi was lying on the car window facing her. Han Chien chuckled softly. Perpetrator, I am not a little girl, I am older. You are so handsome, not like those sissies nowadays. My dad said that when looking for a man, you should look for someone with short hair. He always talks about poor BMWs, rich Autos, the shorter your hair is, the more awesome you are, and now I feel like my dad is right. Han Chien raised his head and squinted at Wei Yi, curling his lips. Tu Xiao and I have a very good relationship. If you don't believe me, ask your teacher Tong. Perpetrator, do you believe in love at first sight? If you don't believe it, you're a little kid. Besides, I have a name. My name is Han Chien. You can call me Uncle Han Chien. Brother Chien. My name is Wei Yi, and my nickname is Buletin Bao. You can call me Wei Buletin Bao. Of course, you can also call me baby. I don't mind dating you. I mind, I'm not a pedophile. Wei Buebao is 19 years old, but his face looks nothing like that, more like a minor. The nursery girl on the side was full of anger at first. When she heard Han Chien say that he didn't have pedophilia, he really couldn't hold back his laughter. This laughter stimulated Wei Yi so much that she took off her clothes while sitting in the car. School uniform top, Han Chien insisted on seeing what she was worth. Han Chien's head hurts. From the time of divorce to now, he has met a normal woman like Yang Lan, and the rest has some problems. He has to admit that this little girl's figure is really good, although it is not as good as the size of Yan Qingqing, and Ji Jing can at least torture Nuan for several times. Hey, hey, hey. Han Chien, you pervert, where are you looking? Wei Yi, put your clothes on for me. Han Chien, how dare you look at your feet? Nursery rhyme raised her foot and kicked Han Chien. This woman was wearing a small suit today, and the high heels on her feet were aimed at Han Chien's head. As a result, her legs were raised too high, and her feet slipped and she sat on the ground with a pop. Han Chien squatted on the ground and looked at nursery rhyme with a painful expression. He couldn't hold it in for a long time. He pointed at nursery rhyme while holding a cigarette and laughed. Nursery rhyme gritted her teeth with tears in her eyes. Send Wei Yi home. This bitch went to touch bricks. What's wrong with all this? Driving to the new district, Han Qian looked in the rearview mirror from time to time. Tanjeo didn't dare to sit down, and groaned in pain with her slippers on the back seat. Wei Yi changed to the passenger seat in front. Looking at Tanjeo's happy look, Han Qian felt so happy. It's not that I won't report it, the time has not yet come. When Han Qian was snickering, Wei Yi looked sideways at Han Qian with a pair of big round eyes, swallowing from time to time. When Han Qian found out, she was not shy and smiled at Han Qian. Brother Qian, let's add VX to facilitate communication. Han Qian squinted at Wei Yi, curled his lips and shook his head. No VX, never played that thing. There are always buckles, right? I don't remember the number, and I don't call it very often. Looking at the guy driving the car, Wei Yi was so angry that she gritted her teeth. She really wanted to grab the steering wheel and die with him, but unfortunately she didn't dare. She pretended to be aggrieved and said coquettishly, "Qian brother, just give me your phone number. It will be convenient for you to pick me up from school then." "No. I have just contacted a taxi. He will pick up your teacher in the morning, then pick you up, and will also pick you up after school. The driver is a woman, and your legs are just the doctor has already told me about the minor injury after the fall. So you can go to school with peace of mind and I can go to work with peace of mind. I will give you 1,000 yuan as compensation, do you understand?" There are so many troubles around him now, and Wei Yi's father is Wei Tiancheng from Huishan, so there should be a big conflict between him and Tu Xiao. Han Qian doesn't want to cause this trouble. The car stopped outside the community gate. Han Qian signaled Wei Yi to get out of the car. The two stared at each other for 2 minutes. Wei Yi got out of the car angrily and left. She used her strength to close the door. Fortunately, the car window was opening. It will automatically fall when it is pressed, otherwise it will definitely break. Han Qian closed his eyes and took a deep breath. At this time, nursery rhyme, who had been lying in the back seat silently all the way, spoke up. "You will cause psychological harm to her. Your attitude just now was too tough." The voice was very soft, not like he was blaming. Han Qian sighed, started the car, and replied softly, "If I wasn't tough, I wouldn't have let her leave so easily. I don't know what's going on in the little girl's mind right now, but I know the reason why she suddenly skipped school a few days ago, and her mother was invited over by Tu Xiao as a guest. It's not like you don't know about my relationship with Tu Xiao. When I started a relationship with Wei Tiancheng, am I worried that I won't die fast enough? Or am I worried that I don't have enough women around me now?" Thinking back carefully, Wei Yi did skip school for a day without any reason, but she never expected that Tu Xiao would dare to do such a thing in this era. Tong Yao was not too persistent on this matter, she sighed softly and whispered, "She will go to school tomorrow and enlighten her. By the way, give me the contact number of the driver you are looking for." "There's no driver. I've calculated that the average daily trip costs about 40 yuan. I'll give you 500, which is enough for a week. You can help take this child to and from school, even if he stays at my house. It's a favor to eat." "Bah, Han Qian, you are shameless. I went to your house because Wen Nuan was drunk. Then tell me who put the brat on my head." "I don't know. I love so and so. Does your butt still hurt? Do you want me to rub it for you?" "Han Qian, I will fight with you." Panamera braked suddenly and stopped on the side of the road. Tanjeo got up from the back seat and strangled Han Qian's neck. It looked like he was really going to fight Han Qian. Han Qian struggled to get away, and his face suddenly became serious and he said coldly, "Road. Don't make trouble, I have something to do here, I need to make a call. This method is very useful against Wen Nuan and Yan Qingqing, but Han Qian still underestimated this monster. Tong Yao strangled Han Qian's neck and said angrily, "It doesn't matter to me whether you die or not." After the divorce, the ex-wife became a creditor. Author, A Huan. Chapter 175. After getting the money, Tong Yao lay down on the back seat again, not feeling guilty at all for almost strangling Han Qian. Monster. An absolute monster. Looking at the monster in the rearview mirror with gritted teeth, if killing someone is not illegal. If he could, he would definitely be killed by this monster. Can't beat it, can't beat it. While he was cursing and denouncing this monster in his heart, Nuan Nuan called, and after the call was answered, Nuan Nuan's urgent voice came over. Han Qian, were you in a car accident? Are you injured? Han Qian covered his head and replied softly. I'm fine. I ran through a red light and scared a student. She's a nursery rhyme student. Now this monster is lying on the back seat of the car. Hey. The child only had a scratch. She almost split her butt into 8 pieces. Pioneer, that's right. That little girl is Wei Tianquan's daughter. Wei Tianquan's daughter? Her daughter seems to be 18 or 19 years old, huh? 18 or 19 years old, Han Qian. I heard that Wei Tianquan's daughter is a head girl, give it to me, stay away from her, I will contact Wei Tiancheng later. By the way, what's wrong with Teacher Tong? Are you injured? Are you two alone? Where are you? I'll go over. Not sure what Nuan Nuan was worried about, Han Qian chuckled softly. It's okay. I'm on my way home now. You don't need to come over. I'm not asking for your opinion. Where is it? New District Carousel. Don't move, wait. If you dare to move, I'll beat you to death. Lying in the back seat, Tong Yao listened to the voice on the phone and muttered in a low voice, "You are the only one who treats this scumbag like a baby bump, but I don't want to look at him." Less than 20 minutes. The Alfa Romeo roared in. When Nuan opened the door and dragged Han Qian out. After getting off the car, he kicked Han Qian's calf and said coldly, "You go and drive Xiaohong, I'll see Teacher Tong off." In Han Qian's eyes, nursery rhymes and warmth are nothing more than collusion. To put it nicely, they are sisters' love. Didn't they just help you squeeze out Yan Qingqing and Ji Zheng? You really care about this guy? At some point, Hans Hainan's head was not much different from the paste. That reflection arc can span the earth twice. In the living room, Wen Nuan purposely passed by Han Qian angrily, but Han Qian, who was lying on the sofa, completely ignored Wen. After walking for 6 or 7 times, Wen couldn't help it anymore, so he walked around the coffee table and sat down on Han Qian. Qian's waist, hugged his arms and said angrily, "Can you please restrain your philandering? Why don't you give up when there is a blatant Yan Qingqing and a readily available Ji Zheng? Why are you provoking nursery rhymes? Don't you think it's not tiring enough for me to catch mistresses all over the world?" Han Qian was confused. When he wanted to get up, Wen Nuan pressed Han Qian hard to prevent him from getting up. Han Qian simply stopped getting up and lay on the sofa, frowning and refusing to say anything. "When did I provoke Tong Yao? Wei Yi is her student, and that child is a bit abnormal. Tong Yao insisted that I tell her how to treat her students. She fell while kicking me. That's all. Besides, am I not tired enough or am I in less trouble? Having you at home is enough for me to keep busy. How can I have the leisure to provoke others? Are you not beautiful enough or cute enough? Hey, Han Qian, you would never say such words of praise to me. If you said it today, it means there must be something going on here, whether it's a nursery rhyme or Wei Tianquan's daughter. I'm just stating a fact, get down." "I can't. Then sit up a little higher. I have a backache recently. Why don't you step on my back? Ah! I'll crush you to death. Nuan was so angry that he lay on Han Qian's body, looking at the roof angrily. Han Qian underneath him didn't react at all and chuckled softly. Tong Yao and I really have nothing to do with each other. It's not like she doesn't know what my current situation is. No matter how stupid she is, she can't get involved in the fight between you and Yan Qingqing. I understand now, what's going on between you and Yan Qingqing. The fight has 50% to do with me, and the remaining 50% is the temper of both of you, whether you don't want the other to succeed. You are shameless, then you say you like me more, or you like Yan Qingqing more. I like lots of money. When Nuan started acting like a monster again, he stood up and pulled Han Qian up from the sofa, and then hit Han Qian with a headbutt on the head. Han Qian almost burst into tears when he was hit. The head of this tiger girl is really tough. Did you do it? Just when Han Qian was about to fight back, when Nuan stretched out his hand to rub Han Qian's forehead, sat next to him and spoke in a very gentle tone. You just don't know how to reject others. You are always worried about whether they will be sad or sad if you reject them. In fact, men must learn to say no, otherwise there will be more and more women around you in the future. The big deal is to leave, but how do you explain it to your mother? You can't say that you have found her a train of daughters-in-law, right? If a man wants to succeed, he must first learn to refuse, be good. Be obedient, and give it to Yan Qingqing. Now call her and tell her to stay away from you in the future. If it hadn't been for the last sentence, Han Qian would have almost believed Wen Nuan. He understood Nuan Wen's thoughts, but he really couldn't make this call. Not only would Lady Yasha not be obedient, she would even come to the door with a baseball bat to talk to Han Qian. The truth. When Nuan saw that Han Qian didn't respond, she didn't force it. She knew Han Qian's character very well. When dealing with people around him, Han Qian always treated them with the most magnanimity and tenderness, regardless of whether they were men or women. She sighed softly and opened her arms, holding Han Qian. Han Qian was a little surprised, wondering what happened to the warmth today. Grown up? Little did he know that Han Qian's cell phone was in Nuan's hand at this moment and he was editing text messages to Yan Qingqing. We should not contact each other in the future. What I love is warmth. The text message was sent successfully, and Nuan showed a smile like a little fox. She endured the little turbulence in her heart when her plot was successful, and spoke intellectually and gently. Brother Qian, you are so kind. Your idea has always been to do more by yourself. It doesn't matter if you suffer a little. You don't want the other party to be embarrassed and the other party won't get off the stage. It was you who pampered me into what I am now, before the divorce. I didn't feel this. When we separated from the Civil Affairs Bureau, I saw you lighting up a cigarette for the first time in 3 years and I realized how deeply you tolerated me. It was also at that moment that I understood that the man in my heart, my surname is Han, not those cats and dogs, so I sent a text message to Yan Qingqing on your behalf. He should have guessed that Wen Nuan must be a little thoughtful, but Han Qian was just like Wen said, he didn't want the people around him to be hurt, and he didn't want her to be sad. Han Qian didn't blame Wen, nor was he surprised. He just thought he will probably be beaten to death by Yan Qingqing when he goes to work tomorrow. Just as he thought of Yan Qingqing's terror, Han Qian felt his phone vibrate. This thing is like an earthquake. Yan Qingqing's reply came. Han Qian, have you forgotten the night we were at the shooting gallery? You hugged me tightly and said, we will be separated forever. Now the remaining condoms are still in my drawer. Unknowingly, Han Qian clearly felt that Wen's arm around him was gradually letting go. Slowly, the two distanced themselves. Wen's face was livid, and he looked at Han Qian with endless anger in his eyes. She said he didn't say anything, he just closed his eyes gently. Boom. This time it was definitely like Mars hitting the Earth. Han Qian was knocked down directly on the sofa. Everything in front of his eyes was Venus, and his mind went blank. Warm eyes with tears. This girl made herself cry when she smashed herself for the first time. You can imagine how much force she used. After 5 full minutes, Han Qian groaned with trembling and pain in his voice. What did she reply that made you treat me like this? She says. There was also a vibrato in Wen Nuan's voice. She really made herself cry. Unfortunately, before she could finish her words, Yan Qingqing's phone number came directly. Wen Wenwen pressed the answer button without hesitation, and then Yan Qingqing was there. Laughter over there. Ha 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 ha, warm baby, are you surprised or not? Exciting or not? You still want to pretend to be Han Qian to deceive me. You have lived with him for 3 years, haven't you noticed that Han Qian rarely sends text messages to others? Ha 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 ha, did the world collapse the moment you learned that Han Qian's virginity was taken away by me? Play with my sister, study for a few more years, and take more medicine. There were tears in Huan Nuan's eyes. She took a deep breath with trembling in her breath, adjusted her breathing and smiled happily. Well, I'm eating the rice dumplings sent by my mother-in-law, so I don't have time to talk to you. Toot toot. Yan Qingqing hung up the phone. Han Qian looked at Nuan, and his heart was full of pain. Tomorrow would be difficult again. Han Qian can guarantee that he has never hooked up with any girl. Yo, I have diarrhea, so. There is no third update. Give me the votes. After the divorce, the ex-wife became a creditor. Author, A Huan. Chapter 176. Okay. Brother Qian, you are getting better and better, and now you have begun to learn to lie. I asked you why you suddenly went to play with guns. I didn't think much about it. In total, you and Yan Qingqing went there together. You be honest. Did you kiss me? Without. Did you give me a hug? Without. What have you done? I was playing with a gun. Besides, you didn't ask me. Han Qian has also learned to be smart. Since the last incident on his forehead was exposed by himself, as long as Nuan doesn't ask, he will definitely not say anything. He will rest on Nuan's lap and enjoy the hard-won silence, going from bottom to top. Looking at Wen Nuan, this posture is the death perspective of his girlfriend, but Wen is still very beautiful. He stretched out his hand and pinched his warm cheek, which was fleshy and smooth. Nuan slapped Han Qian's claws away and said softly with disgust. Don't make trouble. I'm having a meeting here. You can have some fun by yourself. If you can't sit still, go and cook. I have a headache and I don't want to do it. My second uncle called me and asked me to drive him on August 15th. It seems that he is going to this party as a formality and he will probably have a drink. I will see my second uncle off and pick you up when the time comes. How dare a little girl have any opinions? Uncle Han's back is tough. He has someone to support him and a young girl to pursue him. How dare I, a yellow-faced ex-wife, dare to raise any opinions? I'll cook. If she were here with Wen Nuan, she would be able to write about one thing all night. It was only a few days before the August 15th dinner. Why was this shabby party making Han Qian so upset that many people invited him to it? On the other hand, the mother-in-law did not advise him to go. Just take it one step at a time. While eating, the phone rang again. The warmth of the shrimp that was concentrating on my heartbeat suddenly turned into a barking sound to protect my food. I put down my chopsticks and grabbed Han Qian's left arm to ask him to answer the phone. For a moment, Han Qian was really nervous and took out the phone. I became even more nervous when I saw the unfamiliar number on it, fearing that it was someone who needed door-to-door service. Taking a deep breath and answering the call, Han Qian said in a deep voice. Hello. Brother Qian, I'm Lu Chang. You ran away in the afternoon. As a result, the car was not finished and was caught by the teacher's wife. She had to wash the car before she could go home. Ha ha ha, the more I think about it, the more I feel bad. Let's go together during the party. I have one here too. Some colleagues in charge of game review, please discuss the operation of master's plan. I will pick you up then. Now when Nuan was no longer eavesdropping. He was listening to the voice on the phone with his face close to his face. After knowing that it was a man, Wen was relieved. He picked up the shrimp seriously again. Han Qian frowned and smiled, and said softly. Brother Chang, I may disappoint you. I may have to send an elder to the party, see you later. Okay, see you later. There was no exchange of greetings. Lu Chang hung up the phone. He wanted to verify whether what the master's wife said was true, and whether Han Qian's relatives really worked in the Yamanmen. He heard that Han Qian wanted an elder to come over, so the master's wife said that's right. This relationship needs to be maintained. As soon as he got off the phone, Nuan put a piece of meat in Han Qian's bowl and curled his lips. From what I heard on the phone, this Chang is from the Yamanmen. I always feel like he's trying to please you. What plans are you preparing? Han Qian shrugged and said softly. A plan to verify my own value. I made a plan for Qianling to lead the way. Whether she can make money depends on whether she can find the right people and enough connections. This Lu Chang is from the Municipal Culture Department and is mainly responsible for game review. As for whether to please or not, it's of no use to me. It should be Qianling, and he said that my wife's relatives all hold real power. Your wife? Who is she? When Nuan tilted her head and looked at Han Qian with a confused look on her face. Within 3 seconds, the girl slapped the jade leg that made thousands of men drool, and said loudly after realizing it. Me. Han Qian didn't even bother to speak. After the meal, Han Qian lay on the sofa and watched cartoons on TV. After taking a bath, Nuan Wen wore a white shirt of Han Qian's and dangled it in front of Han Qian's face. As a result, many of Han Qian's highlights were missing. Seeing it, he stood up and glared at Wen Nuan and said angrily. If you want to eat too much, go downstairs for a walk. There are a lot of people downstairs right now. Nuan ignored Han Qian's dissatisfaction, turned sideways, bent over, shook his head, ran his fingers along the long white legs, bit his lips and said seductively. Am I beautiful? My breasts will look better when they are bigger. Do you want to go to the supermarket? I'll buy you a papaya. Go. Wait for me to change clothes. You seem to have heard about the pet dog coming downstairs. Woof woof. Nuan wrinkled her little nose and trotted upstairs, not forgetting to be cute to Han Qian. As long as she goes to the supermarket, warmth will never reject her. It doesn't matter what she buys. The main thing is to spend money. Now she is more willing to go to the supermarket with Han Qian because she has someone to accompany her and give some advice. After going to the supermarket, Han Qian actually bought a papaya for Nuan. Han Qian didn't know what this thing tasted like, but when Nuan didn't refuse, he whispered that he would buy some yogurt to have the effect. The girl took it seriously. Han Qian said with a chuckle. I'm just teasing you, but you're actually not that small. One hand. Nuan's face instantly turned gloomy. He raised his head and hugged Han Qian's head, clamping it under his arm, gritting his teeth and saying angrily. What about one hand? At this time, Han Qian was very close to Wen Nuan's chest, holding his chin with one hand and speaking seriously. Tisk tisk tisk, one hand may not be enough. Have you grown one recently? Rogue. Pervert leader. I won't play with you anymore. Anyway, all the shopping was done and Han Qian had no use for it. When he returned home this time, Han Qian went straight to the second floor without taking a shower. He took off his coat, put on his pajamas and got under the quilt. His mobile phone had no function, and his computer was stuck. Han Qian's life is very monotonous. Not long after lying down, Nuan came up with a plate of sliced papaya. He put down the fruit plate and sat on the tatami. His right hand reached into the clothes on his back and the other hand reached into the collar. After a few seconds, Han Qian saw a small black hood pulled out from the collar by Wen Nuan. It seems to be thicker. Han Qian's eyes twitched and he said with a trembling voice. Can you pay more attention to my existence? Wen Nuan pouted. Why do I pay attention to you? It's not like you haven't seen it. Didn't you change my clothes last time when I drank too much? What else is taboo for an old married couple? You're right, but what are you still doing with your hands inside? There's still one that I haven't taken off yet. What? What else? Han Qian guessed it, but he didn't want to accept this reality. When Wen Nuan pulled the second small hood out from his collar, Han Qian's whole body felt bad, and the corners of his eyes twitched even more. Are you wearing this thing? Aren't you hot? Wen Nuan carelessly sat cross-legged on the tatami bed, eating papaya, and replied vaguely. It's hot. Doesn't it look bigger if you wear two? Don't worry, that thing can be as big or small as it is. Doesn't it have a feeding bottle now? Wait. Nuan shouted. Just as Han Qian was about to stand up, a small box fell in front of him. Durex. Ultra thin. Open it, take out two and throw them into the trash can, and give the rest to Yan Qingqing. Just know that things will not end easily. I overslept, please give me your recommendation votes. Please give me a reward. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After the divorce, the ex-wife became a creditor. Author, Ahuan. Chapter 177. The eldest lady's behavior last night really frightened Han Qian, and he couldn't sleep well all night. He was afraid that the eldest lady's conflict would harm him. In fact, he still had a little expectation in his heart, and he was so excited that he couldn't sleep well all night. Miss Wen Nuan didn't torture Han Qian that much. She went back to the room and left the condom and bra with Han Qian. Han Qian was surprisingly not late, but he was not in a good state of mind. It was hard to be beaten by De Qian'er, and he couldn't bear to look at the food that had been served for more than 2 hours. Finally, Han Qian gave up his internet addiction and ran to get married. Shan Shan was discussing the male protagonist in the new online drama released yesterday. The two girls looked at the pictures on their phones and kept moaning, which made Han Qian extremely envious. He took out the Nokia and saw only a green screen. It's time to revise your life goals. Change to a smartphone. There seems to be no work in the general department recently. Suliang is the only one who is busy. He is not busy with work, but chatting with Li Li. Han Qian is standing behind Suliang with a water glass, looking at the two shamelessly. The guy is tired of being inside the button. Brother Liang's shout was so sweet, and Xiao Lily's shout was so friendly. If there wasn't a computer between them, these two guys would be able to get married and enter the bridal chamber by now. Han Qian frowned and gritted his teeth, thinking of a word that suited their current situation. This song was on his lips. What should he say? I can't even remember it. Anxious Han Qian was spinning around in circles. When he raised his head, Han Qian saw Lu Zhuolong, slapped his legs and shouted to Fang Shan Shan. Shan Shan, our deputy Lu is pestering Sister Yang every day. Where did that word of yours come from? Fang Shan Shan was still immersed in the dream of the handsome boy. She didn't think twice after being shouted out by Han Qian and said in confusion. Greasy. Yes, it's greasy. Deputy Lu, don't look at me. I said Suliang is greasy. Lu Zhuolong stood up and walked towards Han Qian aggressively. When he was just one step away from Han Qian, he suddenly turned around and went to catch Fang Shanshan. Little girl Pianzi, you must treat me to a chicken drumstick for lunch today. Shanshan stood up slowly, and her wrist was held by Lu Zhuolong. Fang Shanshan kept begging for mercy, and promised that if one was not enough, she would definitely buy two. It would be unconscionable for Lu Zhuolong to take advantage of Shanshan. Lu Zhuolong is actually not a lecherous person. He just likes Yang Lan so much that he can't help himself. Sul Yang, who was called greasy by Han Qian, didn't realize it at this time. The music in his earphones was very loud, blocking out everything around him. Han Qian bent down and took off Sul Yang's earphones, holding his throat, and said softly, "Brother Liang, let's get off work together." Sul Yang was frightened. He closed the dialogue box and glared at Han Qian. Han Qian turned around and ran away, shouting to Lu Zhuolong as he ran, "Brother Liang, let's have dinner together at noon. I want to have dinner with you." Lu Zhuolong pretended to be like a pig brother, sniffing while laughing, and said with a naive smile, "Hee hee suck, we will go wherever you say, Xiao Lily, hee hee suck hee hee." The two guys' cooperation made Sul Yang very embarrassed, and he wanted to find a crack in the ground to crawl in. The general department burst into cheerful laughter. It has been more than a year since they were so happy. Yang Lan, who was sitting in the independent office, smiled lightly and did not stop their joy. Maybe this is good. The difference between the current general department: if you do a perfect job, you don't have to worry about disbandment. Vice President Gao has been much more honest recently. He seems to have forgotten the general department that he used to mention in every meeting. Sul Yang gave in and promised to buy drinks for Han Daxian and Deputy Lu during lunch, asking to be let go. In the cafeteria, there is another table for 6 people, but little Yang Jia didn't come today. Listening to Shan Shan, little Yang Jia was severely scolded by Mr. Yan. She is crying in the secretary room right now. She said she was crying at the same time. Eating doesn't seem to be a big deal. Hearing the news, Han Qian was so happy that he finally got his revenge, but he was not being teased by this little girl. Instead of Shan Shan, there was an extra Li Li. Han Qian still used to call her Ye Li girl. Next, Yang Jia fulfilled her promise and bought 2 chicken drumsticks, one for Lu Zhuolong and one for Han Qian, leaving one uneaten. Sul Yang was unhappy when he got the chicken legs and looked at Fang Shanshan resentfully. "Shanshan, just buy it for Deputy Lu. You said he's greasy, but what's the matter with Guan Qianer? He's not in the general department for 31 days in a month. Buy one for me. I'll help you with your work from now on. Deputy Lu is busy with work and quite tired. Brother Qianer is single again. As a younger sister, I must take good care of my 2 good brothers. You already have Lily, so you should give up on eating chicken drumsticks. Shan Shan, don't be blind." Before the words came out of his mouth, Lil Jiao smiled and interrupted Sul Yang's words and said with a smile, "Yes. You already have me and you ask others to buy you chicken legs. It seems that my status in your heart is not important enough. Just wait. I will buy it for you. If others have it, we have it too." Miss Ye Lai has a very generous personality, and she did not explain the misunderstanding to others, which made Sul Yang embarrassed. She bought it as soon as she said it. This time, Sul Yang was a little shy, but she did not refuse. Watching Miss Ye Lai walk away, Han Qian smiled evilly. Neptune couldn't make the waves too big after all. "Why are you so shy like a bear? Tell me honestly, how far has it progressed?" De Qianer said immediately. "Have you slept?" Sul Yang raised his head and looked at Han Qian, seeming to muster up some courage. With a sigh, he lowered his head and whispered back, "We haven't seen each other since we got off work. Despite the lively chat on Cao Cao, I don't know what to say when I see Lily. Those tricks of fooling little girls in the past are extremely childish in her eyes. Hey! I have met a master this time. If I fail here, you two must not pull me away. Han Qian smiled with disgust. You loser, I think Miss Yalai is quite interesting to you. Don't tell me this is a professional issue. Suliang replied dejectedly. I feel it too, but I suddenly lost my confidence. Compared with the people around Lily, I am too ordinary. As a saying goes, it is not terrible to get it, but it is a joke to not be able to keep it. Han Qian and Qianwan looked at each other and sighed. In fact, both of them can make Suliang reach the sky in one step. Qianwan may also be able to make Suliang float in the sky, but is this the right thing to do? Han Qian believes that one must take one step at a time. If Suliang succeeds now, then he will not cherish it. After finishing speaking, Lily also came back, carrying a plate of chicken legs and chicken wings, and a drink in the other hand. When Suliang was still a little confused, Han Qian lifted his leg and put it under the table. On her knees, Suliang regained consciousness and trotted to pick her up. Girl Yalai complained angrily that Suliang didn't feel sorry for her at all, and her aggrieved look was a bit cute. Suliang giggled. This guy is really useless and there is no way to save him. A few people were chatting, and De Chiener suddenly asked Han Qian where he was going during the Mid-Autumn Festival holiday. It was Mid-Autumn Festival again, Han Qian sighed feebly. I originally planned to visit my ex-mother-in-law and father-in-law during the Mid-Autumn Festival. They went on a trip yesterday. I guess I should go to your house to visit my Aunt Qian on the morning of the Mid-Autumn Festival. Hey! You can help me when I get scolded. I'll stop him. I should go to Tu Xiao's place in the afternoon and work as a driver for an elder in the evening. I really don't want to have a holiday. De Chiener curled his lips and whispered. I feel sorry for you for a second. Where are Deputy Lu and Shan Shan? Shan Shan smiled and said that she wanted to spend the holidays with her parents. There should be no arrangements. Lu Zhulong also spent time with his family, but he added that if Lan Lan needed it, he just finished saying, Shan Shan, Dakianer, Suliang, Hankinsi people said in unison. No. She doesn't need it. Lu Zhulong glared at the four people with no lethality. Finally, Dakian looked at Suliang, and Suliang glanced at the Yalai girl next to him, who narrowed his eyes and smiled. My parents are not here. During the Mid-Autumn Festival, I want to find someone to accompany me to see the sea, eat hot pot, then go to the movies, and finally go for a drive. I don't know if there is such a person. Suliang, who looked excited at first, seemed to be deflated when he heard the following words, and sighed helplessly. Too bad I don't have a car. As soon as he finished speaking, the two car keys were thrown on the table. Han Qian and De Chiener said in unison. Drive mine. Silver white Porsche Panamera car key. Golden McLaren supercar key. Han Qian and De Chiener looked at each other, sparks sparkling in their eyes, and then they turned to look at Suliang and said in unison. I don't need a car. Han Qian was immediately unhappy, and so was Dakian Er. The two of them talked again. I'm full of gas. One more update. After the divorce, the ex-wife became a creditor. Author, Ahuan. Chapter 178. Knowing these two guys, Suliang once wondered how many children he had saved from falling into wells in his previous life. He stood up with two car keys and put them in their pockets. Suliang smiled. What are you doing? Even if you two are brothers, can you give me the car keys behind my back? I don't want to lose face. After saying that, he patted Han Qian on the shoulder and smiled. Your car costs more than 1 million yuan. If you don't feel sorry for me, I still feel sorry for you. Han Qian frowned and complained. Isn't a car just for driving? Why don't you feel bad? Oh, by the way, I ran a red light yesterday and almost hit someone. I was deducted 6 points. If my points are not enough, remember to lend me your driver's license. De Chiener scratched his head in embarrassment and whispered that he only had 2 points left. Monsieur Lai joked with a smile. Master Han, I will sign up to learn to drive tomorrow. Everyone laughed. Suliang walked behind De Chiener, stretched out his hand and patted De Chiener's head gently, and said with a smile. You are a more expensive guy with more than 4 million yuan, are you really willing to give up, are you not afraid of getting bumped? With a thing like yours, I am afraid that I will be surrounded by little girls, and I will lose my eyes and lose Lily. What should I do? If you hit it, you'll hit it. What's the point of buying insurance? Isn't it just for crashing? How about I steal my aunt's car for you? Don't. Director Qian will kill me if he finds out. Lily, how about we stop going for a ride? Suliang smiled at Miss Yalai, who squinted and shook her head. Suliang lowered his head when he saw this, and then Lily said. Can you ride a bicycle? If you're not good at technique, I promise you won't fall. Then it's settled. Remember to ride your bike to pick me up. Oh. I'm so shy. They're waiting for me. They're gone. Miss Yalai stood up, and only a few people discovered that the young schoolgirl and the cold sister you were standing not far away, waiting for Miss Yalai. The meal was almost finished. Han Qian went to smoke, and told Suliang to hurry up, and the girls the blame has already gone away. When Suliang got up, Lu Zhuolong pulled Suliang, put a car key in the pocket outside Suliang's suit, walked forward without stopping, and said softly. Are you really going to ride a bicycle to pick someone up? If you are from other departments, I will never care about you. You are from the general department, so you can't be embarrassed. The Accord is not a good car, but it is not bad. I still have the keys here. August, you can just drive away after work on the 14th, your sister-in-law has a car. Suliang stood there and looked at Han Qian walking out of the restaurant, looking at De Chiener who was holding hands with Shan Shan, and looking at Lu Zhuolong who was smiling and saying hello to other departments. For a moment he felt really happy. Yes. I must have saved many children who fell into wells in my previous life. After saying that, he ran to Han Qian to smoke. If Han Qian heard this, he would definitely scream sadly, he was the one who threw those children away. What a sin! The young schoolgirl's name is Tang Xian, just like her name, she is very sweet. The aloof imperial sister's name is Wan Fang, but she doesn't like others to call her Fang Fang, so they all call her Wan Wan sister. Wan Wan is an old veteran of the public relations department. She has seen a lot of people and scenes. She has bought a house and a car, and has some savings. Love and love are nothing in her eyes. She had a boyfriend when she was young and ignorant. All the money saved for living and expenses every month was given to this little boyfriend, and the result was great. All the money spent on renting a house was charged to Wanfang's credit card. So Wanfang doesn't believe in love or marriage. Only money is the most important. With money, you have everything. Without money, it's useless for you to be a bitch. Wanfang drove 2 little sisters with whom she was close to a Western restaurant. Tang Xian's fluent English almost allowed the foreign waiter to get into the circle. Discounts are still necessary. After sitting down, Wanfang reached out and touched Miss Yalai's forehead, frowning and wondering. It's not hot, either. Why can't you think of falling in love? It's okay for Suliang to have money. Let's go for the money. It's okay if he has a future. Let's consider it an investment, but he's just a skin. How can you think about it? Ah. Lily opened her mouth, but finally didn't speak. She wanted to say that she was tired, too tired to deal with those old men who were trying to take advantage of each other. She didn't want to be rich and wealthy, nor did she want to be a young mistress. The lady didn't even want to be a mistress, find a boyfriend, and don't think about getting married. It's good to have someone to rely on. There is someone to take care of you when you are tired, someone to talk to when you are sad, and someone to share when you are happy. I just want someone by my side. It was that simple what she wanted. The young schoolgirl Tang Xin looked at Lily and sighed. Hey. It's Wu Sushio's fault. If it weren't for her, Xylee wouldn't be like this. I told you before that this Wu Sushio is not a good person. After saying this, Tang Xin looked at Wan Fang and sighed again. Wan, in fact, Suliang is not as miserable as you said. He has no money now. He has a good friend like Mr. Han. No matter what happens, he can still work as a supervisor in the future. At least Suliang is very manly. I heard there was no ambiguity at all when he said that he and Mr. Han beat Li Dongsheng because Li Dongsheng beat the little Princess of Glory, so Xylee probably won't be wronged. Boom. Wan Fang slapped her hands on the table and said in a deep voice. We've only known each other for a few days, how can you see people so clearly? This Suliang is so flirtatious, do you think Xylee can win his heart? Besides, others say that Suliang, Mr. Han, and Xiao the princess is close, who specifically saw it? I saw it. Lily raised her hand weakly, but Wan Fang glared at her and said angrily. You don't count. You have no brains now, hey. I also hope that you can find a reliable man and don't be ordered around by an old man like me. It's hard to live like this, but you can't be casual. Looking for one? Xylee, there are many gilded turtles in the pursuit of your young master, right? Can't you look down on any of them? Why are you blind at such a young age? You are a simple child. I have agreed with you first to date Suliang. I won't stop you, but you are stupidly sending yourself to the door, don't blame us sisters for not having to do it. Yes. You must be right. I didn't even try to stop you, this obsessive idiot. Didn't stupid Wu Zushio bring trouble to this scumbag? I heard that his gadgets are not as long as my fingers. Although I'm very optimistic about this Suliang, but I think the same as Wan. It's okay to date him, but I won't give him a body. Let's see if he's here for you as a person or for your peach body. No one would have thought that the young schoolgirl known as Xian in the company, whose real name is Tang Xin, is already 26 years old, 2 years older than Yelai girl. Lily raised her head and looked at the two sisters who took care of her the most, then lowered her head and whispered. I spent the Mid-Autumn Festival with Suliang, and I wanted to test it out. When I asked for a drive, both Mr. Han and the little princess threw the car keys to him, but he didn't pick it up. Wan Fang pouted. Just show off. Tang Xin bag was said. What kind of cars do the little princess and Mr. Han drive? After saying that, the steak was brought to a table. Wan Fang took the steak in front of Lily and cut it into small pieces. Then, before putting it back in front of the idiot, Yelai girl whispered back. Master Han's car is a Porsche Panamera, with a landing price of just over 100. Princess Jian's is the latest McLaren, which costs about 4 million. They are both luxury cars. Master Han and the little princess don't seem to have any take the car seriously, the little princess even said that you can crash it casually, and the insurance is just for crashing the car. I feel that both Mr. Han and the little princess care about Suliang more. Tang Xin only listened to half of what he said, holding his chin in his hands and sighing. Hey! When can I afford a $1 million Porsche or a $4 million McLaren? Wan Fang struck mercilessly. Ask your rich second-generation boyfriends to raise funds to give it to you. When you go out to eat with your boyfriend, you have to start planning more than 10 days in advance. Little Tang Xin, please be careful and don't get discovered. Tang Xin curled his lips and shrugged. You're not afraid at all, and you're capable, why don't you pay attention to me? I didn't ask them to pursue me, Xylee. You have to learn from me on this. When you are dating Suliang, you have to stare at him and look at his phone. The number of times he responds to messages, his eyes and facial expressions. If he smiles, he means there are other girls. Tang Xian is right, and it depends on whether he is willing to spend money on you. If not, just say goodbye to him. Three little sisters with completely different values come together. What a topic! A bit esoteric. After the divorce, the ex-wife became a creditor. Author, Ahuan. Chapter 179. Noon is a rare time for office workers to take a break, but of course it is also useful for students. There is a small restaurant outside Haihua Middle School. It is a very simple place. Li Er is ordering food with a menu. Opposite him is Tukun, who is scrolling through his mobile phone. Li Jiai is holding hot tea and scalding cups and bowls and chopsticks. These three guys are really having fun. Come together. Li Er was the oldest, and he came over to have lunch with his younger brothers and sisters. He was just free. All the senior high school students were preparing for exams, and Li Er was the only one who dared to skip school and take a break. Both Tukun and Li Jiai knew that Li Er's second goal is the Film and Television Academy. Li Jiai, who had scalded the cup, whispered, "Second brother, do you really don't have to go to school in the afternoon?" Li Er put down the menu, looked arrogant, and said in a deep voice, pretending to be an expert, "Why should I, Li Er, be so eager to sharpen my skills before the battle? When my grades are not enough, I will go to my brother-in-law. Although the process may be a little harder, but it works, and so do you. I said I would treat you two to dinner, so you can choosing such a shabby place? Are you worried that my wallet is not enough? I can steal from my father." Puff. Xiao Tukan couldn't help laughing, put down his phone, squinted at Li Er and smiled. "Second brother, I saw you were bruised and swollen last week and Sunday. I don't believe anyone with your status would dare to beat you except an uncle." Li Er was indeed beaten last Sunday. Li Jinhai dragged him to the boxing gym and showed no mercy at all. Li Er wasn't surprised when this matter was mentioned, he chuckled. "There are many people who dare to hit me. That old ghost in my family, my brother doesn't dare. His body is too weak, so he can barely cope with my sister-in-law, my aunt, and my brother-in-law, who is your uncle. These are all those who dare to beat me. I tell you two to be careful. If my brother-in-law is angry and beats you, just endure it. This is just anger. If he doesn't even bother to look at you, he will find various ways to admit his mistake." Xiao Tukan and Li Jiai nodded seriously and said softly, "I understand." Then Li Er said again, "Tukun, I heard some news when I drove to pick up my old man when he was drunk a few days ago. It seems that someone is trying to trip up your dad. You tell him to be careful and don't say it was me who said it." Well, second brother, I understand." After that, the dishes were also served. Neither Li Jiai nor Xiao Tukun was in a hurry to move their chopsticks. Li Er was stunned for a moment, and then suddenly smiled. "Did you have dinner at the same table as my brother-in-law? He's not here. There aren't so many rules. Eat and eat. If Jiainu works hard, he can touch the threshold of the first high school. Little Tukan, just work hard for the third high school. You, although I was not on campus when I was a freshman in high school, my legend will still be circulated among senior high school students." "Legend? Haha, relying on the legend that your father is the second in command of the city bureau." Li Jiai also boasted and joked with his two friends, but something so blind would come to cause trouble. Li Jiai raised the corner of his mouth and smiled. When he raised his head, he found that there was a bit of fear in little Tukun's eyes. Li Er frowned. Smiled. "Little Tukun, are you afraid of this bitch?" After saying that, he turned around and sat sideways on the chair, with one hand hanging behind the back of the chair, and smiled at the person who spoke. Wei Buseo, do you think I won't hit you because you are a bitch? The world is so small. Li Er is a student of number 3 high school, Tong Yu is a teacher of number 3 high school, and Wei Yi, the troubled girl who was touched by Han Qian, is also from number 3 high school. Li Jiai is in class 1. She is in class 3. She doesn't look down when she looks up. High school leader. Today's Wei Yi is completely different from how she was dressed the day she met Han Qian. She wears a black punk-style vest, black leather pants, a pair of long boots, and the Thunderbolt gloves on both hands are equipped with metal sharp points. There are 4 or 5 on the right ear. Small earrings, the hair on the right temple was shaved clean, and the hair was braided into small braids and combed into a ponytail. With her exaggerated smoky makeup, no one could tell she was a student. Wei Yi was followed by several younger sisters. The younger sister pulled up a chair and asked their eldest sister to sit down. Wei Yi squinted at Li Er, looked up from bottom to top, and sneered. Li Duoli, why are you from a Yamanman family, hanging out with the daughter of the black boss? Are you not afraid of causing trouble for your father, who is a government official? Tu Kun, thank your father for me, I will do the same if I have the chance. You are invited to my house as a guest. By the time he finished speaking, Li Jiai had already stood up and blocked Tu Kun behind him. Li Er waved to Li Jiai and said with a smile. What a big deal, it's time to eat and drink. Let me see if she dares to touch you too. After saying that, he looked at Wei Yi and said contemptuously. Do you think your father, Wei Tiancheng, is clean? Do you want me to tell you the information about your little mothers now? When you are free, go and find out if your father has given you a younger brother or something, or take him with you. You guys are not human, you guys, stay away from me, you know, it affects your appetite, you know. Oh. You don't know, you are the last loser. Wei Yi was not angry at all, and asked the other little girls to order. She stood up and walked to Li Er, squinting and smiling. Li Duoli, if I take the photos now and send them to the Discipline Inspection Commission, do you think your father will beat you to death? Whatever you want, my brother-in-law asked me to take care of Jiai and Tu Kun, so I will take care of him. I advise you not to do this. If my sister and my brother-in-law want to take revenge on you, your father's little Huishan group is I can't bear it. Hey, how warm is it? She should first think about how to avoid being ignored by Lin Zongheng. As for your brother-in-law, I always heard that you talked about your brother-in-law and took it out for me to see. Are you worthy? I'm afraid that you, a bitch in heat, will stick to my brother-in-law. Oh. I'm sorry, you two will eat from both of you, don't pay attention to this crazy bitch, you two have seen it, if you don't study hard, you will end up like this. A person is neither a human nor a ghost, okay? If you can't feed me enough, go and do what you have to do. If you want to take pictures, you can take pictures, just don't hinder me. These two guys are enemies. Wei Yi is the eldest sister in school. Bullying is a common occurrence. Most of the students in the school have been bullied. However, for such a good old man, the school can only circulate criticism, which is loud and clear. At first, Li Er was too lazy to talk to her. After entering the 3rd year of high school this year, this crazy bitch became more and more disgusting. As long as Wei Yi bullied others in school, Li Er would definitely show up. Gradually, Li Er also gained followers. Wei Yi is a bastard, but she still understands who can and cannot be touched. But she can be disgusting. He pulled up a chair and sat behind Tu Kun and began to threaten Tu Kun. Little Tu Kun had not inherited Tu Xiao at all. She was the queen of the Kong, and she had a cowardly temper in the family. There was nothing she could do about it. Li Er pinched 2 pills. Peanuts hit Wei Yi on the forehead and said coldly. If you are sick, take medicine. Come on, You bully me, I will let you bully me for a while, don't bully the children. Wei Yi, who was hit on the head, was not angry and sneered at Li Er. Bullying you? How could your father invite me and my mother to your home for no reason? If you don't go, he will threaten to find someone to rape me. Li Duoli, you have to protect Tukun, do you hear me? Kidnapping. Threaten. Li Er frowned and looked at Tukun. Tukun raised his head and bit his lip and nodded, then shook his head. She only found out about this matter recently, and he didn't know the specific reason. It only took a few seconds. Bell, Li Er's frown relaxed and he smiled at Wei Yi. Being kidnapped like this can be regarded as killing harm for the people. Besides, my father is a policeman and I am not. What are you telling me about this thing? If we want to settle old scores, my father wants to arrest Wei Tianchen even more. Are you too full? Let's go when we are full. Don't go to school in the afternoon. I will take you to relax. Tukun, please call my brother-in-law and ask him if he has time. I don't dare to fight. Hey, is there anyone else that Mr. Li is afraid of? If you don't talk, I'll be like a piece of shit. If you talk, I'll treat you like a talking piece of shit. If you can't feed me enough, get out of here. Wei Yi was about to retort when she glanced at Tukun's cell phone and fell silent instantly. Uncle Han Qian? Han Qian? Isn't that my first prey in my life? Is he Li Duoli's brother-in-law? Wei Yi slowly raised her head and asked softly in confusion. Li Duoli, Han Qian is your brother-in-law. Isn't he divorced? If you don't feed me enough, are you looking for a humming beating? If you don't believe me, ask Teacher Tong if your brother-in-law is divorced. They all know him. Li Er's face turned gloomy. When he went out, he drove the two younger ones back to school, and then drove to see his aunt. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After the divorce, the ex-wife became a creditor. Author, Ahuan. Chapter 180. No one opened the door after knocking for a long time. Li Er called and found out that his aunt and uncle had gone out to play. He ran all the way back to school to find Tong Yao. Tong Yao was a little confused when he saw Li Er and whispered. Li Duoli, didn't you say you sprained your ankle? It's okay, I can't die. Teacher Tong, my brother-in-law and my sister are divorced. Your brother-in-law? Huh? Divorced? You ask me. There are question marks all over Nursery Rhyme's head. Shouldn't they ask their relatives about this? Why did you ask her to come here? Li Er looked at the teacher's confused expression and knew that he had not made it clear. He took a deep breath and explained seriously. My sister is Han Qian, no, my aunt is Wen Nuan, no, my sister is Wen, my brother-in-law is Han Qian, his mother-in-law is my aunt, my dad is my aunt's brother, and... Stop. Are you talking about Han Qian? He didn't file a lawsuit when he divorced Vice President Wen, oh. I don't know. Or maybe there's something wrong with Nursery Rhyme's brain. Li Er, who knew the answer, turned around and ran away. After getting in the car, he called Han Qian directly and asked about the divorce. Han Qian had a headache and thought for a long time about deceiving Li Er. Your sister and I got married before we even fell in love. This time, we plan to fall in love again after the divorce and then get married. Don't tell your second uncle and aunt about this. This is your secret, my sister. I don't believe it. Brother-in-law, are you lying to me? Do you think my sister is too stupid? In fact, my sister is very good. She always says you are good in front of my parents. Your sister and I are still living together now, be good. I will take you back to my hometown to play for a few days during the Chinese New Year, and your sister will go back too. I believe you for now, brother-in-law. Even if you and my sister don't remarry, you are still my brother-in-law. If I'm in a bad mood, I'll go to bed. Li Er hung up the phone quickly. The little guy must have been stimulated. Han Qian was curious about who told Li Jiai. There were many people who knew that he was divorced, but not many. At least there was no one around Li Jiai. Han Qian thought of someone. Is this monster sick? Without even thinking about it, I took out my phone and asked for nursery rhyme, and started yelling angrily. Nurse Rhymes, please explain to me, what did you and Li Duo say? Nursery Rhyme, who was just getting ready to go to class, had her mind filled with questions. First it was Li Duoli, and now it was Han Qian. What does their family affairs have to do with her? The more he thought about it, the angrier he became, and he replied angrily. Are you asking me about your family affairs? Han Qian, is there something wrong with your mind? Han Qian was not in a curious mood and said angrily. Which one of us is humming mentally ill? Have you told Li Duoli about me and Nuan Nuan? Do. The monster hung up the phone immediately. In fact, the monster also felt guilty. Tong Yao punched himself in the head. How could he be so stupid? Turn off your phone to avoid being scolded. Han Qian went to fight in anger, but his phone shut down. An anger that had nowhere to vent rushed to his head. Han Qian felt dizzy. Under the gaze of everyone in the general department, Han Qian kicked off his chair and left the general department in a hurry. Everyone was frightened. Who have you provoked this little bully again? Seeing this, Suliang stood up and smiled. Don't pay attention to him. There are always a few days every month when everything is fine. After saying this, Suliang looked at Qianwan. De Qianer asked with his eyes whether Suliang was okay. Suliang shrugged and mouthed the word warmth. De Qianer closed his eyes and sighed. This was Han Qian. Another person might have been crushed by such pressure. No one at home or outside has peace of mind. At the bathroom sink on the 11th floor, Han Qian spoke feebly into his cell phone. Li Er knows about our divorce. It's okay for me. At most, I will be scolded by my second uncle. But what should you do? My second aunt knows about it, and the whole world knows about it. I told Li Er that it is we have never been in love before. We will fall in love after divorce and get married, but who the hell would believe this? The warmth on the other end of the phone replied softly. You know it, you know it. Why are you so angry? Originally, we divorced first and fell in love later. If they ask, just ask. At worst, we can get married again. Nothing will happen to me. I will be nagged at most. Now, be careful not to let Dad know, you might be beaten to death. There is such a thing as nursery rhymes. It's hard to even think about it. I wanted to scold her on the phone just now, but she turned off the phone. You two are familiar with each other. You can talk to her. If she can't keep her mouth shut, I will sew it up for her. Okay, I'll call Tanjeo and Li Er later. Calm down. This is originally a trouble you caused yourself. You have to get a divorce. My sister is good-tempered and thick-skinned. If you do something else, you try it as a woman. I have some things to do here. I will buy you delicious food when you get home in the evening. Be good and hang up. Be safe and call me if you need anything. After hanging up the phone, Han Qian was still in a bad mood. He didn't want to go back to the general department. If he went to Yan Qingqing's place, he would definitely be questioned about what happened last night. It was annoying to death. He just went with his feelings, and then he talked about operations. Department, mentally exhausted, he said hello to the staff of the operations department, opened Ji Jing's door, and sighed with a flat mouth. Aunt Ji, I need comfort. Today Jijing is pink and tender, and Yang Lan also has a set of pink sportswear. Han Qian walked up and sat down on the table. Jijing stretched out her green finger and poked Han Qian's face, squinting and smiling. I have some snacks here. Do you want some? There are add calcium milk, shuanghuai, jelly, popping candies, white rabbit toffee, you can have some toffee, it's so sweet. Jijing took out a small pile of snacks from the drawer. Just as Han Qian was about to ask, Jijing had already stuffed the toffee into his mouth, and then asked with a look of anticipation. Is it sweet? Looking at Jijing's smiling face, Han Qian's mood improved a lot and he said softly. Sweet, so sweet, just like Aunt Ji's smile. Are your lips feeling better? Straight men are straight men. Jijing's face turned red instantly, and she handed Han Qian the add calcium milk that had been intubated and said softly. Big nephew, don't ask some questions or ask for answers. Are you relieved if I say yes? Or are you worried about me if I say no? The quality of your lips is no longer important in this matter. Be obedient and drink milk. Don't ask questions that you shouldn't ask. How can I, a girl, answer you? Oh, how are you going to celebrate the Mid-Autumn Festival? No wonder girls like to drink add calcium milk. It's so delicious. Jijing looked at Han Qian's childlike appearance and smiled again. She looked out the window with one hand on her chin and said softly. Go and spend time with Yang Lan. Don't worry, I won't go home. Well, don't say you'll accompany me or anything. I know you're very busy and don't have time. Hey. I also want to see Xiao Baibei when I have time. Do you just want to see Xiao Baibei? I can see Sister Yang every day. Jijing's smile gradually disappeared, and she slowly turned her head to look at Han Qian. Her expression changed from a smile to an angry one. Then she stood up and dragged Han Qian out of the office by his back collar, and then slammed the door. Han Qian was left with a confused look on his face. What happened again? Women are so strange. After the divorce, the ex-wife became a creditor. Author, Ahuan. Chapter 181. Life has been very quiet in the past few days. The quietness makes Han Qian feel a little weird, but he can't say what's wrong with it. He still plays with Nuan. It rained for 2 days on the weekend, and Han Qian misses shooting. Feeling it, he chatted casually with Wen Nuan, and Wen ran downstairs and bought Han Qian a toy gun. As soon as the trigger is pulled, the gun responds violently. Dad's father is called Grandpa, and Mother's brother is called Uncle. I really want to use this gun to destroy Wen Nuan in the middle of the night, but I just think about it. If Wen Nuan wakes up in the middle of the night, Han Qian will be the one who suffers. Early in the morning, Han Qian and Wen Nuan were busy changing clothes and getting ready to go to work. Last night, they almost stayed up all night playing a 4399 minigame. They almost didn't get up in the morning. Both of them can be late, but they both like this feeling of being busy. Han Qian, I forgot my car key. Please get it for me quickly. I'm going to a party with Shisai tonight. Han Qian, who had already changed his shoes, took off his shoes and ran to the second floor to get the car keys for Wen Nuan. He put the car keys in Wen's pocket with his own hands, bent down and tugged on the folds of Wen's windbreaker, and said softly. I feel very bad recently. Please be careful when driving. If you feel uncomfortable, call me and I will pick you up. Don't get angry with others when you go to work. If you encounter any trouble, please tell me. Never be impulsive, don't drive in high heels, bring a piece of clothing if you need to wear an evening dress, don't catch a cold, and... I know, you're nagging again, let's go. Nuan took Han Qian's hand and trotted into the elevator. When they went downstairs, they got into 2 cars respectively. Nuan left first, and Han Qian followed. Since the mother-in-law hasn't come back recently, this car has become Han Qian's car. When I arrived at the company, I received another text message on my phone. Don't go to the party. The mother-in-law was really worried. Nuan went to the party. How could he not go? He didn't take it to heart, put his phone in his pocket and got out of the car. As soon as he got out of the car, he saw Suliang driving Lu Zhulong's Accord and parked in front of him. Suliang asked Han Qian doubtfully. Why did you come to the company today? Han Qian smiled and threw a cigarette to Suliang and said softly. I was going to Director Qian's place with Mr. Yan to celebrate the festival. I couldn't find Mr. Yan's house, so I came to the company to wait for her. Are you going to pick up Miss Yalai? He has a name. I'll go out a little bit first. I'll go shopping with Lily first, have lunch, find something suitable for young couples to do, and then eat and watch a movie. I'll wait with you. Get out of here, you're so distracted and you still have to give me a hammer, get out of here. When Suliang started the car with a smile, Yan Qingqing's Raptor also arrived. Suliang drove away when he saw this, but he couldn't make light bulbs here. Yan Qingqing did not go to Han Qian's car, but asked Han Qian to drive the Raptor, using her words. Except for men, she didn't want to touch anything else that Nuan had touched. After getting in the car, Han Qian muttered in a low voice that Wen Nuan had never touched him. Then Yan Qingqing unbuttoned the 2 buttons of her collar, turned around and pressed close to Han Qian to help him fasten his seat belt. The obvious friction made Han Qian distraught. After all, I am also a man. You guys always go too far. Can a virgin be bullied like this? Han Qian didn't prepare any gifts this time. Cai Yan Qingqing had already bought them for the purpose of going there for dinner. Qian Linger was very happy when she saw the 2 of them. Knowing that Han Qian was going to other places in the afternoon, Qian Ling opened her mouth to eat in advance. The 3 of them huddled in the kitchen, with Han Qian as the chef, Yan Qingqing helping out, carrying the dishes and washing the vegetables, and Qian Ling occasionally making some small suggestions, enjoying themselves. This made Qian Wan outside the door once wonder if she was the outsider. Why? Brother Qianer has such a lovable character. He is handsome, capable at work, and does good housework. He is very straight in daily life, but he has a very sweet mouth in front of his elders. He can even talk about cosmetics. It's clear and logical. This is all the knowledge I gained last night. Xiao Qian, Qingqing, and I will go to the party tonight. Are you with us? Hey. I don't want to be separated from you for a minute. It's a pity that I can't afford to offend Li Jinhai. I have to drive for him at night, and... How many enemies do you think Tu Xiao will have in the city? Huh? Did you find out about me? Qian Ling smiled and slapped Han Qian on the forehead, and Han Qian chuckled. How dare you? I don't want you to be well informed and learn from you. Just for the little tricks he did against Tu Xiao, he will never be able to get on the stage in his life. As for the people who deal with him, there is nothing successful, but there are quite a few. As for who wants to think about it, hurry up and cook and eat. Then get out of here. Okay. Han Qian wears this apron and cooks seriously. Dinner started at 11 o'clock at noon. The 4 people at the table were chatting about the intrigues and laughing happily. Qian Ling and Yan Qingqing drank a little red wine, and Han Qian ate 3 large bowls of rice without any pretense. After dinner, Han Qian and Qian Ling watched TV for a while. At 11:50, the phone rang on time. Tu Xiao took the time to make the call, but Han Qian didn't answer. He stood up and smiled at Qian Ling. Auntie, I have to take a step first. See you later. Qian Ling looked at the TV and made a sound through her nose, then said. After drinking lightly, please stay here with me in the afternoon. Wan is still young and is not suitable for this kind of party. Otherwise, someone will come to sell their children who can't do anything. In the evening, Ching Ching will be with me. Walk. Han Qian frowned slightly after hearing this, bent down and whispered. Auntie, Ching Ching is Lu Shenge's family now. You can't hide the fact that you took Li Dehai's shares. If you are too close to Ching Ching now, will you get into unnecessary trouble? Qian Ling raised her head and squinted at Han Qian, frowning. Are you worried about me? I'm worried that Ching Ching will just say it. She will get angry just looking at the hypocrisy. Get out of here. You don't have to worry about this. You are very busy in the afternoon. As she spoke, Qian Ling gave Han Qian a smirk. Han Qian was a little embarrassed. He was indeed very busy this afternoon. Nuan went to see Yu Shisai in the morning and went to Tu Xiao's place with Han Qian at noon. Fortunately, the mother-in-law went on a trip. With her domineering attitude, Han Qian had to go there last night and couldn't go anywhere for the whole day. Going downstairs, Han Qian called Wen Nuan. This girl was rushing here now. She came to pick up Han Qian. After hanging up, Han Qian called Suliang again to ask if he needed help. Something like that. It's a pity that this guy didn't answer. The warmth came quickly, and Han Qian was picked up in less than 10 minutes. Han Qian untied his belt and patted his stomach, groaning in pain. I can't eat anymore. At the beach, Li was sitting in the car waiting for Suliang, who was going to buy ice cream. Li looked at Suliang running towards him with an ice cream in his hand. He couldn't help but cover his mouth and smile softly, shouting softly to slow down and don't be in a hurry. In the car, Suliang was driving with one hand and eating ice cream with the other, and whispered to Li, who was somewhat silent. My phone is in my pocket. Please take it for me and send a text message to Han Qian. I didn't receive the call, he just called me. I have to leave quickly, otherwise the reserved table will be gone. Get a cell phone? Text back. Li was stunned for a moment, thinking of what the two sisters said. See if he was playing with his mobile phone when he was with you. You must pay attention to his expression. Now is not the time to pay attention to his expression. His mobile phone was handed over to her. Miss Yalai asked herself. Is our relationship already so close? Can you help each other reply to text messages? Li took a deep breath, took out her cell phone from Suliang's coat pocket, lowered her head and asked in a low voice. There is a missed call from Mr. Han. Do you want to call back? Suliang, who was driving seriously, shook his head slightly. He's busy too. He's either with Mr. Yan or his ex-wife. You'd better send him a text message. Well, just say everything is fine. Need a password. 258888. When Suliang revealed the phone lock screen password without hesitation, Yalai girl was stunned again. Didn't he have a secret? When did he start to trust me so much? Have we reached a relationship where we have nothing to hide from each other? Shouldn't it be hidden from the other party from looking at the phone? Is it really okay to help answer text messages? When Li was still hesitating, Suliang smiled. Try opening VX and searching for Han Qian's mobile phone number. This guy is really antique. Hey. Did you reply to the text message? Miss Yalai was a little panicked and stammered in a low voice. Not yet, I'll be back soon. It's over. The methods of the two little sisters were useless. Suliang didn't touch the phone at all, and she could check it at will. Li started to reply to text messages. At this moment, Suliang was also a little flustered. When he got up in the morning, he could all the deleted people were deleted. In the end, less than 300 people were left in the address book of more than 1,000 people. Now he was worried that someone would suddenly call him. Just as Li finished replying to the text message, her cell phone rang suddenly, and the note was a fish. Li glanced at Suliang from the corner of her eyes and found that he was driving seriously. She took a deep breath and answered the phone, saying coldly, "Hello." Not knowing what the other party said, Miss Yalai replied decisively, "Sorry, I'm celebrating the Mid-Autumn Festival with my boyfriend." He hung up the phone and was blacklisted. All this is in Suliang's sight. Neptune no longer raises fish. The prodigal son has also turned back. My eyes hurt. I didn't check for typos. Sorry.